Welcome back from break. We are going to start out talking about domain and range. We've talked about it in the past. We're going to formalize it a little bit. Some of you remember that one's the input, one's the output, and some of you remember, has something to do with X and Y and all that. And I want to talk quickly about that because that's really important with this. First of all, domain is the input, range is the output. Domain is X, range is Y. And we talked about how these things are always in alphabetical order. If you can think of the pair of words or letters that are associated with the X, Y, it's always in alphabetical order, or at least up until all the math that I've done in my life. So let's try to remember that. So anyway, domain and range really is just the XY coordinate. Domain's the input, range is the output. So if we think about it in alphabetical order, X comes before Y, input comes before output. So it all lines up like that. What you're going to need to be able to do this week is look at a graph. Let's say that this is our graph. We would need to be able to figure out what is the domain. Well, the domain would be all the values. It's a little hard to get lined up here. All the values of X where this function exists. This whole region down here, because this function has all these X values, this is the domain. Right? And let's say it is the number negative 5 to 6. Well, then we would say our domain is all the values between negative 5 and 6. So is 7 in the domain? No, 7's not in the domain. Is 0 in the domain? Yep, because 0 is right here. It's in the domain. 7's not because it's out here. There's nothing associated with it. And then if we want to talk about the range is all the values from here to here. It's all the output values. And it would only have output values from there to there. Right? I can't, whatever I plug in into the domain, I'll never get an output value that's way up here or one that's way down here. So let's say that this is from the number 2 to 4. So my range is just 2 to 4. All the numbers between 2 to 4. No matter what I plug in, I'll never get a 7. No matter what I plug in, I'll never get a negative 3. So my range is this right there. Okay, so that's the domain and range. Graphically, this is how you identify it. We're gonna, the next video, I'm going to talk about how to identify it algebraically. Okay, we'll see you there.